Hi, Democrats. Today is Wednesday, April 5th. It's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so very much for bearing with us as we had a little technical difficulty causing us to start a little late, but thank you for those of you who hung in there with us. So yesterday, my word for the day was priority. And my priority, as it always is making sure that everyone has access to the ballot box, is educated when they get there, and know that their vote's going to count. And yesterday was an election day. And so it was an election day. Every county in the state had an election on the ballot. That doesn't mean that every precinct was open, but every county in the state had an election on the ballot. One of the more consequential counties was Oklahoma County. Throughout Oklahoma County, there were several elections, and we had a city council in the Village, and we had a city council in Forest Park, and we had a city council in War Acres, and the court clerk, which everybody was talking about, but there were other things, and there was also a mayor's race in Edmond, which is not my concern because it was Republicans. But here's the thing. We had wins all over the state, which means that Democrats are coming out of their shell and they're showing up to vote. And this is what has to happen. On these down ballot races, everybody gets excited about president and congressperson, but the down ballot races affect your daily life more often than the Congress, more often than the governor and the president. Those down ballot races, city council, those people likely live in your neighborhood. School board, those folks likely affect the things that are happening at your child's school. And we are now paying attention to those as Democrats, and folks are showing up. In a lot of our races, we had more people show up than were anticipated, which is a thing we haven't been able to say about elections in a long time. But what I tell people when I'm asking people to run, that there are more ways to classify as a win. We take all the wins that we can take. We want all the Democrats in office that we can get. But there are more ways to classify a win. One is by energizing Democrats, getting Democrats out, giving them a reason to vote. One is the people that you meet. And another is to set you up for the next election. So I want to talk today, right? I want to send out a shout out to Stacey Woolley in my hometown. That was a really hotly contested race. And the OK GOP had labeled that race as the most important race of 2023. And Democrats won that one. It's a nonpartisan race, but the winner of that race is a Democrat. So I want to talk about another race. I want to talk about a city council race that not a lot of people were following in War Acres. And in order to talk about that, I'd like to bring the candidate on to join us and talk about it as a bird's eye view. So join me in welcoming Kit Fairchild.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Hi, Kit. I can. Thank you so very much for joining me. Can you hear me fine?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. So tell everybody what you ran for.
I ran for Ward 1 City Council member in War Acres. It's not a very big ward. It has maybe 1,200 people total. And we had 209 people show up. And in that race, I got 104 votes. My opponent got 105. So I lost by one vote. And really, I needed 2 votes to win because in City Council of War Acres, War Acres just period, it's in our ordinance that if there is a tie vote, then the City Council takes a vote and they decide who the next person will be. And that was going to be the incumbent. So I really needed to win by 2. So that's what happened. It came down to really 1 vote. And we were like, you got to be kidding me. 1 vote, and it's quite a loss. You think that, 1 vote, you came with 1 vote. That's great. And it really is because it tells that I had a lot of support. It tells that I really did a lot of work against an incumbent who had the ex-mayor on his side and they were all campaigning for him. And really nobody in the ward knew me very well. Some did. But I really got out there. I pounded the pavement. I knocked the doors. I met my neighbors. I talked to lots of them. I talked to the 220 people that voted in February as well. And to come within 1 vote, I feel pretty good about that.
Well, I feel pretty good about it. And that's why I wanted to have you on, because I say this all the time. I am always saying that every vote counts. right?
Absolutely.
Every
Well, do I
vote
know
counts.
it?
And you are absolutely an abject lesson in that, right? Every vote counts. And so if it's 6 o'clock and you're tired and you think you don't want to go vote, you actually could be the swing vote to determine what happens in your city
Yeah,
council,
exactly.
right?
And oh yeah, I was amazed at the support level I got because I didn't really know how it would go in the first the first runoff we had or first election we had in February. There were 3 people in the race, so we knocked one guy out, and that was left me and the incumbent. And I was really about 22 votes behind him in the race. So, and all in all, I was about 10 points down going into this final general. And to come back some odd points to come within 1 vote of winning, that's 0.4%. That 1 vote is. So coming that close really says a lot. It says a lot. It really says a lot about the work I did, and it says a lot about how well the people in my neighbors here in Ward 1 like me and like me as a candidate. And they really want me to move forward. I talked to a lot of people today. People called me, emailed me saying, "Oh, please stay involved. This means a lot. This means that people really want you to serve." So the city may look into putting me on a commission like the planning commission or traffic commission or something like that and get me more involved. They're really looking to do that. So
Well,
I'll be in there.
So I want to say, for real, thank you for running. And thank you for the work that you've done, because that's the other piece. You were running against an incumbent.
Yeah.
It was an incumbent who beat you by 1 vote.
1 vote. That's amazing, isn't it? And I did have last night about 9 o'clock, one of my neighbors down the street showed up, and he was more upset about it than me, but it was because he didn't vote. He worked late. I worked out of town. I didn't get home till 6:30. I was tired, and I decided I'm not going to do it. And then he saw the results and couldn't wait to come see me and tell me, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And he was more upset about it than me. So maybe I'm thinking he'll vote next time.
And he sounds like a perfect candidate for an absentee ballot. I talk about absentee ballots all the time. Everybody should sign up for an absentee ballot because it reminds you and it gives you an option.
Oh yeah.
Right. If you can see far ahead that your work schedule might have you out of town, and your words, you might not get back in town in time to vote, get your absentee ballot, cast your absentee ballot, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it was something he wouldn't expect. He didn't expect to have to work out of town that day or that long, and to take so long for him. And really, he could have voted. He got back in town in time. He just was tired and decided, it's not going to matter. And it really did. It really did matter if he voted or not. It really does. Getting your people out to vote is so important. And that's really what this came down to. And man, did we get our people out. That's really good. We both, me and the other candidate, we really got our people out. It was a nice day, a big, huge turnout. It was actually the biggest turnout War Acres has seen in a candidate race for city council in a long time. And that was because
he's an incumbent. He's an incumbent.
Knocked the doors.
More people should have come out for him. He's an incumbent.
Yeah.
And so I believe, and not because I know you, and not because you're a registered Democrat, but I believe you drove turnout.
Yeah.
Because people typically don't show up when they like the same guy and they think he's going to get there. But the fact that they came out and half of the people, or a smidge, but almost half of the people said we want new representation, that says a lot.
Yeah, it does.
That says a lot.
So
really I do hope you'll stay involved.
And I did talk to one of the other council members for War Acres, and that's exactly what they said. What you just said is exactly what they said. Wow, you really have support. That's what they said. And I'll probably have to run again because I have that support. People are going to expect me to run again. Coming that close, it's probably a shoo-in. But that's how this is. I did, coming in with 1 vote, you'd say, wow, can't you just, do a recount or contest? Isn't it an automatic recount or anything? Not for War Acres. And I did look into it. I got some friends that are down there at the county election board, and we did some preemptive stuff, see if there was any provisional ballots or what was going on with anything else or machines or anything else. And they did a soft search into it, and then came back to me and said, well, we can do a recount. It'll cost some money, but the chances are really, really low that you'll change 1 vote. And really, I need to change 2. So that was going to be really hard. And I'd rather just lose gracefully, really, because that's going to make me look better to the constituency here in Ward 1. They're going to say this guy's not petty. He really lost gracefully. He really wants to serve, and they really want me to serve. And they can see how great of a guy I am for doing that. So that's what I did. I did reach out to the other candidate, and I emailed him and gave him a call and left a voicemail. I didn't actually talk to him, and congratulated him on the win and let him know, hey, it was one vote. So, and I did. I talked to other people about getting involved with the city in some way, some form, and I imagine they will probably find some spot for me so that I can at least do that, network more, and then the next time around, I'll run again, and I'll probably win. That's how I look at it.
So I disagree with you on the challenging the race, right? I'm not telling the folks who are watching anything that Kit and I haven't had a conversation about.
Yeah.
And I want to just.
But I did look into it, Alicia. I did look into it.
I appreciate that. But I want to propose.
I'm not gonna,
I want to propose a different thought, right? I respect that we want to bring respectability back into politics. It needs to not be so ugly and adversarial. However, I know when I vote, I want to vote for somebody who's going to fight, who's somebody who really wants it and who's going to fight to represent me. Now, I respect you and I respect your final decision, but of course I have to make my final plea. I think I would like to see, like, I literally just had this happen in the last election for my city councilor. I am represented by the worst city councilor in Tulsa right now, because the city councilor that I voted for didn't really put up a fight. He lost by 25 votes, and it was significant because they didn't hand out enough ballots. There was a whole bunch of stuff, and he didn't put up a real fight. And I shared this with him, so I'm not talking out of school. I was a little bit disappointed that he didn't fight for the position. He ran, which said that he wanted to represent us, and then he didn't really put up a fight. But, Kit, Mikey and I are fine. You and I are fine. I respect what you're doing, but I just want to give a different perspective of fighting doesn't mean you're a sore loser. It means you're fighting to represent the people of your district. I
would like to say 3 points to that. One, I did fight by getting a hold of some people and seeing how viable it would be to do this. Right. And once we looked at, there were no provisional ballots cast, that could have been something. And then you look at everything else in the data and you're like, 209 votes, the odds are really slim. And then I did have them look into it and we're like, it's not really going to flip any votes, especially 2 that I would need to win. So I really don't want to do that. The other point is the ward city council election and everything. One, it's nonpartisan. So a lot of people didn't even know I was a Democrat running. Some people did, and I let them know, but a lot of people didn't. And as a matter of fact, my opponent did put out some literature talking about, hey, this isn't about politics and everything else. And I did talk to Republicans who thought he was a Democrat for doing that and that I was a Republican. So they went ahead and voted me because of that. And I really didn't tell them otherwise, because if I got their vote, I got their vote. But so that's one point. That's another point. The third point is these are all my neighbors, right? So, I mean, I really built a relationship with them and everything else. And you're right. It would be different if this was like a U.S. Senate race or even just a legislature race where it is a partisan race, where I got the D by my name and I'm going at it. That might be different. And especially if it wasn't just 209 votes. That's another thing too. If it was like 10,000 votes and I came in one, I would be like, yeah, let's recount that, but being such a small,
you think they can count to 209? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was 209 total votes, and something like that. And just to go through to pay $3 a vote to have them recount that just didn't seem logical to me when I can dust myself off, pick myself up, and I could still get involved in the city. I got a lot of respect by running this race and coming in within one vote. I got a lot of respect from city council members, from the mayor, from the other guy. Because you got to understand, when we started this race, there were 3 people in this race to start with. And we knocked one person out, and then it was just me and the other guy. And so that other guy, he's got a lot of respect for me too. they really would like to see me do something. I really got something with my neighbors, seeing how my leadership works and how I really want to represent them and everything else. And so I have their support. So just going with that and moving forward from there. And I will tell you what, it's almost 100% positively that one day I will be a city council member if that is what I so choose to pursue.
Well, the thing is, politics is about relationships. Yeah. And if your strategy is about building relationships, that's very good. That is a very good strategy. Building relationships, getting to know more people, getting more involved in the community. That's awesome. But when you run again, don't be over there running solo. Make sure that we know we can help you get more, right? Because we need to be in all the places where we need to be.
Yeah. So, Ward 1 was so small. I mean, the thing is, it's a half mile wide and a mile long.
But those 1,200 people deserve the best representation they can get.
They do.
So I'm not sure if I properly thanked you for your autographed book.
Oh yeah, I have it over here. It's kind of out of the view, but I got a book that I put out, 10 Lessons of Conservative Cowardice. And yeah, I got you a copy, Alicia. I think I got.
No, I got it, and it's autographed, and I'm grateful for it. But I just.
Welcome. Anytime, you are so worth it, Alicia. Everything you do, everything that you've done for the Democratic Party, people really ought to notice what you have done. And I know there's people out there that give the last chair hell too about, hey, you can't run anybody. We got 50 some odd seats. Now it's like 70 seats where we have no Democrat running. And the reason is the gerrymandering. The gerrymandering's so horrible that people can't run in certain districts. It's not that you didn't recruit people. You recruited a lot of people last time. It's just that once they get in there and they realize, oh man, there's no funding because it's 5 Democrats to 8 Republicans in my district. Well, then they don't get the money to run and they have to shut down. And that's what happens every time. So I think you're doing a great job. You did a really good job on trying to fill as many of those seats as you could. You really did. I saw it. I did. And kudos to you for that. You really deserve a clap, pat on the back, whatever we can do for you, Alicia. Thanks for the work.
I should have had you on here earlier. No, but thank you so very much. I wanted to bring you on, and I'm so glad that you agreed with such short notice, because I think you are a perfect example that people need to understand that every vote counts.
Every vote does count. You can see my race where I lost by 1 vote to know, wow, every vote counts. It really does. Getting your people to go out and vote for you if you're the candidate is so important. And every one of them to do it is so important. This comes down to 1 vote, 1 person or 2 people in a family, a household, not voting or voting. That's what it all came down to with this race. It really did. It was an exciting race, obviously. It was a well-done campaign, and we obviously got a lot of people out. We did. We broke the record for showing up at the polls for this race. We really did. But yeah, came short by not.
I mean, thank you for that. But that makes me sad.
Yeah. So it's just like one of those things.
209 is a record. But no, thank you for running. Thank you for running a real race. And because when someone knows that they're only hanging on to their seat by 1 vote, maybe they'll work harder to represent.
I hope so, because really the guy I ran against, he was actually appointed by the old mayor. And then the next time he ran, nobody ran against him. So this is the first time he ever had any challengers run. And coming in 1 vote shy, that probably I bet that has an effect on him. I haven't talked to him, but I bet that does. It makes him think, oh, wow, if I want to keep doing this, then I probably ought to get some work done and talk to my people, because he didn't. He wouldn't do that. The only reason that he got out there this time was because I was out there.
Because you were out there.
Yeah, because you were out there. He had to be. If I was, he was going to lose if he didn't. So that's just how that was.
And that's the big takeaway. So Democrats, every time there's an election, I tell you about it. I beg, I plead, I cajole. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to bring a kid on, and he's a great sport to let me use him as a teachable moment to show this is what happens when we say we're too tired, or we're mad at some other Democrat, or whatever reason that we concoct not to show up to vote. This is what happens.
Man, yeah. Exactly.
But
You gotta vote. You gotta show up. We have to organize. You gotta stay organized. Stay in contact with those people you've organized with. Get involved. That will do it. That will keep us moving forward. That will get more people involved. That'll give us more votes, and eventually we're going to have more Democrats in there, and that's what's going to happen.
and that's what it's going to take. Thank you so much, Kit.
No problem. Thank you. Quick plug, my book, it's available on Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com, Google Books, Goodreads, a few other places where you can get the book. It's got an online version.
Say the name of it. Say the name of it.
What? The
10 Lessons in Conservative Cowardice.
10 Lessons of Conservative Cowardice by Kit Fairchild, me. Oh, and also, just like this, I have a YouTube channel, Across the Desk with Kit Fairchild. It's on YouTube. And I do a blog on Wednesdays with Sean Cummings, which we do Facebook, TikTok, and we're going to drop on Anchor for our podcast that we do with that. So, which is interesting. So I do a lot of that. So there you go. Quick plugs. So, and thank you, Alicia and Scott and everybody at the Oklahoma Democrat Party for everything you do in this state. That it's just a really hard job you have. It's not easy doing what you do. And thank you for doing it. Thank you so much. Really.
Thank you for saying that. And for the rest of you, I will be back here tomorrow at 4:15. You guys have a great night.